Have you ever experienced a moment so strange, so perfectly timed, that you felt the universe itself was whispering to you? Maybe you thought of an old friend you hadn't seen in years, and suddenly your phone lights up with their message. Maybe you were struggling with a decision, and right when you needed clarity, a sign appeared, on a billboard, in a song lyric, in a random stranger's words, that seemed to speak directly to you. These are the moments we call synchronicity. But what if I told you something radical? What if synchronicity is not just the universe sending you messages? What if it's actually you, in disguise? Let's pause here. Most people, when they hear the word synchronicity, immediately think of Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist, who first brought this idea into mainstream thought. Jung described synchronicity as meaningful coincidences, moments where events line up in such an uncanny way that they feel orchestrated, not by chance, not by logic, but by some invisible hand. Yet here's the question: whose hand is that really? Is it the cosmos? Is it God? Or is it you, the deeper you, the part of your consciousness that extends beyond the edges of your mind? Think about it. How often have you known something before it happened? How often has your intuition guided you to exactly the right place, at the right time, to meet the right person? The truth is, synchronicity feels external, because we're so used to separating ourselves from the universe. We think of ourselves as isolated beings. But what if you're not separate at all? What if the universe is simply your reflection, like a mirror that's always speaking back to you? Here's an analogy. Imagine your life is like a vast dream. Inside the dream, you think you're just the character. You have a name, a story, a role. But what if, beyond the dream, there's a greater dreamer, and that dreamer is you? Every character, every sign, every coincidence inside the dream is being orchestrated by the deeper you, nudging you, guiding you, reminding you of where to go. Synchronicity is like a breadcrumb trail left by the dreamer, you for the character you to find. When you realize this, everything changes. Suddenly, that random phone call isn't random. It's you, reminding yourself of connection. That unexpected opportunity isn't luck. It's you, opening a door. That strange coincidence that gives you goosebumps isn't the universe playing tricks. It's you, whispering, pay attention. You're on the path. Now let's make this more personal. Imagine you're struggling with self-doubt. You feel stuck, lost, uncertain. Then, one morning, you walk into a bookstore, and a book falls from the shelf, literally right in front of you. You pick it up, open a page, and the words staring back at you answer the very question you've been wrestling with. Most people would call that a cosmic wink. But what if it's deeper? What if it's not just the universe giving you a sign? It's you, setting up the sign for yourself. After all, who chose to walk into that bookstore at that exact time? Who was drawn to that aisle, that shelf, that book? It was you. And who created the meaning when your eyes landed on those words? You again. Synchronicity, then, is not separate from you. It's the deeper intelligence of your own being, disguised as the outside world. Let's take this further. Modern science is beginning to hint at what mystics have always said, that consciousness is not limited to the brain. That reality itself may be a projection, a hologram shaped by awareness. If that's true, then synchronicities are like glitches in the matrix, where the curtain slips, and you catch a glimpse of yourself behind the stage. You're both the actor and the playwright, both the wanderer and the mapmaker. Some people resist this idea. They say, but wait, isn't that too much responsibility? You're saying I'm creating everything. Not exactly. You're not consciously planning every event, because the character, you, doesn't have that much control. But the deeper, you, the infinite self, the consciousness beyond the mask, does. It sees further, it knows more, and it plants these synchronicities like notes to yourself, folded into the fabric of time. Think about the last synchronicity you experienced. Maybe it was small, like hearing the same phrase from multiple people in a single day. Maybe it was big, like meeting your life partner through an impossible chain of coincidences. Ask yourself, what part of you set that up? Was it really just random chance? Or was it your deeper self orchestrating the timing? Here's the beauty of it, Ty. When you start seeing synchronicity this way, life transforms. You no longer feel like a passive character at the mercy of fate. You begin to feel like an active participant in a dialogue with yourself. Every coincidence becomes a message. Every strange alignment becomes a mirror. And the more you pay attention, the more the dialogue deepens. It's like tuning a radio. The signals were always there, but until you adjust the dial, you can't hear them. When you align yourself with awareness, when you start trusting that synchronicity is you in disguise, the volume gets louder, the patterns get clearer, and you realize you're never alone. You're always being guided by yourself. So, the next time something uncanny happens, when a song plays at just the right moment, when a stranger says exactly what you needed to hear, when the timing of life feels almost supernatural, pause and ask yourself, what if this is me? What if I am the one pulling the strings? Because maybe, just maybe, synchronicity isn't the universe speaking to you. Maybe it's the deepest part of you finally being heard. The psychology of synchronicity. Carl Jung, the psychologist who gave birth to this term, never intended for synchronicity to be seen as mere coincidence. He noticed that his patients would often experience uncanny alignments between their inner world and the external world. For example, one of his famous cases involved a woman in therapy who was describing a dream of a golden scarab beetle. At that exact moment, a scarab-like beetle tapped against Jung's office window. He caught it, handed it to her, and the impact was so profound that it shifted her healing process. Now, was this a random bug at the right place, at the right time? Or was it her inner world expressing itself outwardly? If the unconscious mind is not locked inside our skull, but is instead connected to reality itself, then maybe the beetle was more than just a bug. Maybe it was her psyche spilling into the external world, arranging a sign for her healing journey. And here's the key. If your unconscious can shape external reality in moments like these, then synchronicity isn't just happening to you. It's happening through you. You are both the experiencer and the architect. In spiritual traditions, synchronicity has always been recognized, though often under different names. Some call it divine guidance. Others call it destiny, or the language of angels, or signs from God. Yet if you zoom out, these are all different ways of describing the same truth. There is a deeper intelligence at play. But here's where the twist comes in. If every spiritual teaching insists that God is within you, that you are one with the universe, then aren't those signs also coming from within? The same intelligence you call God, Source, or the universe is inseparable from you. The signs don't come from somewhere else. They are extensions of your own being. Imagine a drop of water in the ocean. The drop may think, the ocean is speaking to me. But the drop is the ocean. In the same way, synchronicity feels like the universe whispering in your ear. But the whisper is your own voice, echoing back through the infinite sea of consciousness. Let's step away from theory and enter the everyday. Picture this. You're thinking about switching careers but feel terrified. You don't know if you have the courage. One day, you scroll through social media, and you see post after post about following your dreams, taking risks, stepping into the unknown. At first, you dismiss it as coincidence. But then, on the same day, someone calls you with a job offer in a field you've secretly wanted to pursue. Is this chance, or is it your deeper self arranging the external world to mirror your inner longing? Or another example. You're grieving the loss of a loved one. You feel broken, alone, disconnected. Then, you keep seeing their favorite song playing in random places, or their birth date popping up on clocks, receipts, license plates. People tell you it's just coincidence. But what if it's your own higher self orchestrating comfort for you? Weaving reminders of love into the tapestry of your days. When you shift your lens, these moments stop being random. They become personal dialogues with yourself. Science and mystery, some might say. But wait, isn't this just pattern recognition? Our brains are wired to see connections, even where there aren't any. And yes, that's true. Our minds love finding patterns. But that explanation falls short. Because not all patterns carry meaning. When you experience synchronicity, you don't just notice the coincidence. You feel it. There's a charge, a spark, a sense of being seen by reality itself. It's not intellectual, it's visceral. Quantum physics hints at a possible reason. At the smallest level, particles don't behave like solid objects. They behave like probabilities, waves of potential, waiting to collapse into reality. What determines that collapse? Observation, consciousness. If consciousness and reality are entangled, then synchronicity may be the moments where your awareness bends probability, pulling events into alignment. You might not be controlling the details consciously, but your deeper field of awareness is creating these ripples. Think of it like this: you're standing at the center of a pond. Every thought, every emotion, every intention is a stone you drop into the water. The ripples travel outward, and eventually, they return. Sometimes they return in the form of a phone call, a song lyric, a chance meeting. And because you forgot you dropped the stone, you experience the ripple as external. But it was always you. Now you might be asking, why does this perspective matter? Why should I care if synchronicity is me in disguise? Here's why: because it gives you power. Not the power of control, but the power of trust. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim of randomness, you begin to realize that life is a co-creation. You are not drifting aimlessly in chaos. You are engaged in a dance with your deeper self. The signs are proof that you're connected, guided, and not alone. This also changes how you respond. Instead of brushing off coincidences, you start listening. You treat synchronicities as conversations. If a phrase keeps repeating in your life, you ask, what am I telling myself here? If opportunities line up, you ask, what path am I opening for myself? If a challenge shows up repeatedly, you ask, what lesson am I urging myself to face? The more you engage with synchronicity, the more it engages with you. A young man once told me about how he met his wife. For months, he had been unsure about his future, about love, about whether he'd ever find the right partner. One day, feeling frustrated, he wrote in his journal, "Universe, if you're listening, show me the person I'm meant to meet." He closed the journal, laughed it off, and went about his day. That very evening, at a cafe he almost didn't go to, he bumped into a stranger. They struck up a conversation, and within minutes, it felt like they had known each other forever. Years later, they were married. When he looked back, he realized something: the universe hadn't been listening separately from him. That journal entry was his own higher self answering his own heart's call. He set the intention, he opened the door, and he walked into the place where the meeting could happen. Synchronicity was him, guiding himself, disguised as chance. So how do you live with the awareness that synchronicity is you in disguise? First, you stay open. Don't dismiss strange alignments as meaningless. Second, you trust the timing. Even when life feels uncertain, know that the deeper you is setting up encounters, lessons, and openings. Third, you participate. Instead of waiting for life to happen, you engage in dialogue, ask questions, set intentions, pay attention to what unfolds, and finally, you remember. Synchronicity is not about predicting the future. It's about aligning with it. It's the way your deeper intelligence nudges you into harmony with your highest path. If you take only one thing from this exploration, let it be this: you are not separate from the universe. You are the universe, localized in human form. Synchronicities are the moments where the veil lifts, and you see your own reflection. They are the breadcrumbs left by the infinite you, guiding the finite you home. So, the next time you encounter a strange alignment, don't just smile and say, "What a coincidence." Instead, whisper to yourself, "Hello, me. I see what you're doing. Thank you for the reminder." Because maybe, just maybe, every sign you've ever received has been you, in disguise.